back to the feedback here on this Feedback Friday. This is from Hunter Knight. Hey, Mackey. Hey, Mackey. The team would take like an $8 million loss moving on from Dalvin. So this is like we've been talking about Dalvin Cook and when you could maybe look to say goodbye to that bloated contract. The team would take like an $8 million loss moving on from Dalvin Cook next year. What sense does that make? Well, that's one way to look at it, but a lot of this is sunk cost. So you have to make a decision on, for instance, so Dalvin's cap hit next year is $14 million, which is one of the highest. I don't have a list in front of me, but it's definitely one of the highest running back cap hits, I think, in the NFL. Mm-hmm. His dead cap is around $6 million, meaning if you were to get rid of him, you would save around $8 million in cap space, but you'd be stuck like $6 million. So you'd be paying to the cap $6 million to move on from him. So your choices would be next year, do you pay him $14 million to the cap and have him, or do you pay him $6 million to the cap, say goodbye to him, and have $8 million freed up to spend on something else, whatever you would want to spend on?
Correct.
A new center or whatever, like a new slot cornerback or something. That's the decision. I have a really hard time justifying paying Dalvin Cook that much money to the salary cap in 2023. He's really good still, but he's no longer like the driving force of your offense. And he's getting older. So I don't know. What do you guys think about the future of Dalvin Cook?
I'm with you completely, and I do not think that the Kwesi-O'Connell regime will ever pay this position like Spielman and Zimmer did. Yes, I think you need to get his cap hit has to come down. I would also, just for fun, explore trading him possibly. I don't think he has a no trade clause because he's a big enough name where it would be interesting to shop him. I don't think that there's any way that Dalvin Cook plays next season on this contract.
He currently has the second highest cap hit of any running back.
Doesn't make sense.
He will next year. So, yeah, he has the second highest of any running back. Next year, he's slated to have right now, it would technically be like the sixth highest cap hit. Because Aaron Jones, Jones, $20 million cap hit?
Also not happening.
Nope.
Zeke Elliott, 17. Some of these are just like
also not
on
happening.
The books, but you can get out of them if you need
also
to.
Not happening. They're running back.
Alvin Kamara.
Everything must go.
Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb. Yeah, some of these are just not gonna work here anymore.
I also question this. So I think Kwesi and O'Connell certainly have done a very good job at a lot of things so far. I question the decision to extend out Thielen, Harrison Smith. There are some contracts. I mean, I think you have to come to grips very quickly here, very soon. And in some cases, it's not going to be possible for 2023. But you got to come to grips with the fact that there is a collection of long-time, very familiar, well-liked players who have to be moved on from here within at least the next 2 years. And Dalvin Cook, to me, in his prime, marvelous, still a very good player. But what is his value? So like if I was to come to you right now, Phil, and say, assign him a value. What do you think?
Like a draft pick value or like
no,
a trade value?
I'm sorry. No, a financial one. Like what would you want his cap? What do you think for what he gives you would be a fair cap hit right now? Because 14 ain't it.
Personally, I think people go too far with like running backs aren't relevant. Well, I mean, my God, look at like Breece Hall, and now he's out for the year. But like, look what that guy did to help the Jets offense get off to such a great start. Look what Saquon Barkley's been doing for, this sort of training wheels offense that they're running in New York right now with the Giants. So people take the running backs are replaceable thing too far. That being said, when you're paying a quarterback that much money and a receiver that much money, I think you got to be careful giving the running back the contract. I think you need to. It's a luxury. If you've got other premium positions filled with guys that you're comfortable with and you've got some leftover flexibility, okay, bring in the running back. San Francisco, right? Oh yeah, we got room to bring in Christian McCaffrey now, and we can take on a big contract there. Okay, that's fine. This kind of spins into the next comment here from Christian Sack on YouTube. I don't even want a conversation about no Adam Thielen. That's a conversation that's going to happen at some point, though.
Well, yeah.
You can still laud his Vikings career and whatnot, but it comes down to what's your loyalty as a fan? Is it to the team winning, or is it to like Adam Thielen next year? Because this contract is pretty absurd.
It is.
Adam Thielen's cap hit next year is the same as Stephon Diggs.
I hate this contract. I would have advised against it, and I wish I had been consulted.
His cap hit is $20 million next year.
What was so weird too was when he posted that video because they restructured, right? I believe going into this season they restructured. He put, can't get rid of me yet. It was just like, why even throw that in there? I guess the whole thing was strange to me.
I'm not ripping him. Like, he's been awesome.
He's been
ripping
solid,
him.
But I can't.
Why do you guys hate Adam Thielen so much?
I don't hate him, but I can't look at the guy who's entering who'll be 33 next year and be like, can't get rid of me yet, and I'm going to get my money and be 19 million. I think that's BS,
I'm with Declan
dude.
completely. What? Because you know what? There's nothing more frustrating than athletes who are like, I'm a lifetime Viking. I have the right to be a Viking. Can't get rid of me yet. It's like, no, dude, you are a replaceable commodity.
Blame the front office. Don't blame Adam. He's been a great Viking. He still has value, and the front office or the ownership determined that his value should be higher than it is probably. So
okay,
but your angst is being taken out on the wrong guy.
No, my angst is very, very well founded.
Okay.
Kyle Rudolph, same thing. Jason Zucker, you can't trade me. There's no way. Well, guess what? I can. Don't tempt me. Okay, so here's the problem with this contract, and that's why I hate it. The Thielen contract. To your point, Phil, the cap hit is basically $20 million. All right. The dead money, if you cut him, is 13.6. The savings is 6.4. So how do you work around that? What do you do with that?
You'd have to be so you could so your choices are you either pay him, well, I guess your third choice is restructure again, but you got to stop kicking the can down the road.
Thank you.
So you either swallow one of the highest, it's like the 14th highest receiver cap hit in the league next year, $20 million, and he's on the team. Or you say goodbye to him, pay him $13.5 to the cap to not play for you, and then use the $6 million on something else. There's not really an appealing choice. No matter what, you're on the hook for a lot next year for a 33-year-old Adam Thielen.
Why? I guess I, if possible, would like to ask a follow-up question to that note. Why don't you want to entertain the discussion too?
Well, because he's been, I think, fans get attached to their favorite players, and Adam Thielen is a fan favorite. He's probably the fan favorite player on like the last 5 years. I don't know if there's a more fan favorite player than Adam Thielen.
Before I die means a Super Bowl.
I agree with you.
Super Bowl championship. It does not mean that the kid from Detroit Lakes gets to carry the trophy.
Well, he could this year if they go.
He could, but my point is,
next year.
I am only concerned.
Because he's not going anywhere.
I am only concerned about the people in the laundry, whoever they might be, having a Super Bowl trophy.
I think there's room for two thoughts here. I think, from a fan perspective, would it be really cool to see Adam Thielen from Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, growing up a Vikings fan, hoisting a Lombardi trophy this year or next year? Yes, it would be cool. Do the Vikings owe anything to Thielen beyond like the scope of the team's success? If they're catering to Thielen, or fans are catering to Thielen over the team, that's where I draw a line.
I agree.
And I think this contract caters to Thielen beyond the point of his value to the team. Good for him for getting paid and for making life-changing generational money for the Thielens.
True.
But that contract is a problem in 2023 that they can't easily escape, unfortunately for them.
Yes.
Before we get to a few other pieces of feedback here, let's shout out our friends at Livia, helping fans of Purple Daily and Mackey and Judd lose weight over the past year and change. Judd's kept a bunch of weight off.
That's right, down in the past year, plus 40 pounds, keeping that weight off. And now I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to do the exact same thing. Get off that couch.
Get off that couch.
Get off your couch. And if you're looking in the mirror and you're thinking, I need to drop some pounds, Judd, what should I do? Livea Weight Control Centers is there for you. And guess what? Okay, it's getting cold outside. I get that. But you know what? That is no excuse not to be able to, by the time spring comes, fit into those clothes that don't fit today, because Livea can help you do exactly that. And if you join now, you'll receive 8 weeks for free. Imagine all the weight that you can drop in 8 weeks. This program, it's simple, it's effective, and it's not a diet. It is a weight loss program that also helps you keep the weight off. The Flex program lets you enjoy the foods you love. Fruit, pasta, even bread. And again, first 8 weeks free, 855-GO. Livea, Livea.com. Join the Score North family, and we've had a ton of success stories, and I'm so pleased, including myself. Livea.com is the place to start.
Also, Finch Home Solutions is helping power this episode of Feedback Friday today.
All right, so you're losing weight, right? And you're thinking to yourself, I'd like a little bit of a reward for myself. What can I do?
All of these things thread together.
How about a hot tub? You know what? Winter, yes, exactly right. And guess what, Dex? Winter is coming, right? Mm-hmm. And what's the one thing that you can get outside, because it's right outside your door, and enjoy?
A hot tub.
You can have that nice warm soak in a hot tub. But you know what? To do that, you got to get all of the electrics for that hot tub in place. And that's where Finch Home Solutions can help you. They can take care of problems like flickering lights, preventative electronics in your house if something's wrong. But more importantly, probably, they can also help you enjoy things. And it is this simple. Pick up the phone, 612-357-2604, FinchHomeSolutions.com. FinchHomeSolutions.com. Cody and his team do a fantastic job. FinchHomeSolutions.com is how you find them.
A. Jonesy via the YouTube comment section here. I'm not impressed with Kwesi. In my opinion, the draft was really poor. And he's giving away our draft stock for players like Rager and Blacklock. What do you think? It's so early to make a judgment on Kwesi.
I disagreed with moving back like he did a couple of times. But that being said, I have no clue. The draft class, I think we have fallen into a little bit of a habit of immediately evaluating a draft class. So like I've seen tweets like, well, Seen got hurt. Well, yeah, it's unfortunate, but we have no idea. Yeah. That's not his fault.
Asamoah has barely played on defense yet. Well,
and he might play more now.
Maybe he's going to be good.
Exactly right. So the other thing though is, and I think he's shown this, yes, he's trading draft picks, but he's also not afraid to trade. And so he might get those picks back. We don't know. So, yeah, I'm with you. Give me 3 years, and if he stinks at drafting, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and we need to see Booth out there at some point, too. It's so early to tell. I don't think you can, these guys are hurt, so it's a failure. I don't know. Purple Pain via YouTube said, quote, let's not go full Rams and win a Super Bowl like the Rams. Let's go half Rams and lose in the playoffs like the Vikings. Minnesota mediocrity.
Wow.
I think the point that Kwesi was making when he said let's not go full Rams is it's really risky to mortgage that many future high draft picks for a win now window. Because if you don't win now you're left sort of empty, holding an empty bag here, and it's hard to retool. So it's risky. He wants to open up like a 5 or 6 year window where you've got multiple bites at the apple, multiple chances, if you will, to contend.
Exactly.
Because I'm not going to go as far as saying that the NFL playoffs are random, because teams with great quarterbacks tend to win more playoff games, and better rosters are going to win. Home games are going to win. But if there is something to be said for if you can get to a certain level, like if you can get to be like an 11 or a 12 win team in the regular season, if you're sneaking in with 9 wins and playing on the road 3 weeks, you're not winning a Super Bowl, largely. But if you can get in and like host your playoff games, you're a 12-win team and you're doing it over multiple years, giving yourself maybe 3 or 4 years of that. I understand his logic there, but I wouldn't avoid trading a first-round pick for a shutdown cornerback like a Jalen Ramsey, like the Rams did.
And going full Rams, to be very, very clear here, takes big cojones. Like that is. I think what a lot of teams do is they do go half Rams, which is probably the worst thing, because it's like, well, our toes in the water, you see? And the Rams are like, we are fully engulfed in this flood right now, but we're doing great. So I get what he's saying, and Kwesi made perfect sense there. But there are very, very few teams that go full Rams. I mean, that takes a lot of guts. I think the statistic is they don't have, or the factoid is they don't have a first round pick from like 2018 to 2024.
It's actually kind of unprecedented what they've done,
Yes.
and they use those picks to get a quarterback, to get a cornerback, wide receiver. Von Miller. I don't know if he was a first round pick, but like,
I think he was, Phil.
He was.
Yeah.
you
So
go.
they continued to do that. That was not like one trade. Oh, that took guts. That was a series of trades.
Yeah. And then Thor's Rock via YouTube. No relation to Thor Nystrom from Before I Die podcast, but
Our guy.
Washington game looks like a big old trap game with the big bad Bills looming the week after. So the Vikings go home against Arizona, then the Washington game.
I like it.
And then there's the Buffalo game after that. Is that a trap? I don't think it can be a trap game when your quarterback, he's not going to say this, but don't you think Kirk is going to be perked up for that game?
You like that?
For better or worse? Yeah.
You like that? Probably. So that's an intriguing one. I feel like so far this Vikings team, which got done in Philly, but they just got done there. I feel like they've been pretty focused though. Like I don't, and this could change completely.
Just take a week at a time.
But
Week
so
at a
far,
time.
it feels like they've done a pretty good job. And I mean, they're barely getting by too. So yeah, I don't know, but I think the overall point is intriguing. You know,
Take a week at a time.
about potential trap games eventually, if nothing else.
Yeah, I don't think this team is going to fall into trap games. I think when you're this hyper focused on new coach, new systems, like every week I would be more worried about like the third year under Zimmer or fifth year under Zimmer, like where everything gets kind of monotonous or repetitive, and maybe you fall into a little bit of a trap. But these guys are like learning new things every single week still at this point.
And I don't know that they are good enough to have trap games.
Yeah,
Like I
that's a
feel
good
like
point, too.
trap games are like we won by 14, we won by 21. Oh my God, we lost.
The Bills have more trap games on their schedule than the Vikings do. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
So, all right, there's your Feedback Friday here. Mackey and Judd. Send us every single week. We just stockpile stuff. We get to as many things as we can through the Score North app, through the YouTube comment sections, etc. And don't forget Vikings Vent Line, the most fan-friendly interactive show in all of Minnesota sports, right after the Vikings-Cardinals finish up on the Purple Daily YouTube channel this Sunday.